Deputy Sheriff Lena Nicole Marshall, Jackson County Sheriff's Office, Georgia. Police Officer Paramahans Desai, Henry County Police Department, Georgia. Lieutenant Chad Brackman, Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, Arizona. Detective Michael J. Dion, Chicopee Police Department, Massachusetts. Corrections Officer 5 Kevin Dupree, Texas Department of Criminal Justice Correctional Institutions Division, Texas. Police Officer Michael D. Chandler, Big Stone Gap Police Department, Virginia. Canine Rogue, Cedar Park Police Department, Texas. Firefighter Michael K. Freeland, Jacksonville, Florida. Firefighter Malaki Brown, Baxter Springs, Kansas. Welcome back to American Sons Podcast. My name is Christian, and before we get started, I just want to give a special shout out to Scooter Brown Band for that awesome intro music like usual. I still love that song. I love that we're able to use it, and I really appreciate them giving us the rights to use it for the podcast. Now, before we get started, I do want to note that it's just me today. Hunter and Dylan have had some work issues, or work scheduling issues, rather, and they can't be here. It's all good. Sometimes life gets in the way, but we still want to bring you guys an episode on every Tuesday like we have been. So today, again, it's just me. So it's just going to be a little shorter one. I really want to dig deep into the Rittenhouse trial because that's really the big thing that's going on right now. And this is more than just a trial for murder. This is a self-defense case. And if this is ruled guilty, it's a big deal as far as self-defense and anybody who conceal carries, anybody who ever gets in any kind of deadly altercation and has to use self-defense. This is setting it up where this could be the future of how stuff is ruled. And I know it gets kind of messy with all the different charges and everything that was going on that night. But this can be a template for future self-defense cases. And not a lot of people are talking about that. And that's just important to note. But let's go ahead and jump in. The biggest thing that happened today, obviously they're doing their closing arguments and deliberations. I just saw is going to be tomorrow. So today is 11:15. Tomorrow is going to be Tuesday the 16th. So when this episode comes out, they will be starting deliberations. So hopefully we get some kind of answer tomorrow or Wednesday. Who knows how long it's going to take. But something really important happened today. The judge dismissed a gun charge against Kyle Rittenhouse. And I have it pulled up here, and I'm just going to read part of it. It's off CNN. I know I don't follow CNN, but that's what popped up first when I was doing some research, so that's what I'm reading, and everything looks right here, so who knows if CNN is telling the truth. But Judge Schroeder just dismissed count 6 of the indictment against Kyle Rittenhouse, a misdemeanor charge for possession of a dangerous weapon by a person under 18. The charge was punishable by up to 9 months in prison and $10,000 fine. Rittenhouse now faces 5 charges. So before it was 6, this one got dropped, and now it's 5. And just some more context, the count that the judge just dismissed, which was listed as count 6 in the indictment, was a misdemeanor stating that Rittenhouse was under 18 years old with a dangerous weapon. Rittenhouse, now 18 years old, still faces the 5 felony charges for the events on August 25th, 2020. If he is convicted of the most serious charge against him, he faces a mandatory sentence of life in prison. Rittenhouse has pleaded not guilty at all charges, or to all charges, which I don't think he's going to get charged as guilty. I really don't. After watching this prosecutor and the stuff he's thrown out there, if anybody can watch this and say, yeah, the prosecutor has a point on anything, I don't know what they're watching, unless they might be watching CNN. Who knows? But so I don't know exactly why this was thrown out. I don't know if it's because he's 18 now. That is something I didn't get more context on, but it was thrown out. So that's the important point. So that's one charge that Kyle doesn't have against him. So real quick, let's go back and go through the events, because I know some people aren't even following this. I was listening to Andy Frisella's podcast the other day, Real AF, and they were talking about that people think that he shot black people, that not everyone was white, and that's what all this controversy is about. It's a race thing. and it's not. Everybody that was involved that night, they're all white. The three people that he did shoot are all white. Not that it should even matter. When it comes to anything, race really shouldn't play a part. But so if we just start at the beginning, let's just start with that. Everybody who was in it was white. Now, a big thing going on right now, and it makes you chuckle because they're calling Kyle Rittenhouse a white supremacist. I don't know. They're saying that he was taking pictures with the Proud Boys, or who knows at this point. I'm not digging into that because at this point, it's just like the term racist. They use it so much from the left that when they actually call you it, it's like it holds no bearing. Like if someone called me racist now, great. I don't care. 10 years ago, that might have been this huge thing. Like, oh my God, you called me a racist. Like, now it's just like, okay, you call me, it's just like calling me stupid. Whatever. So it's the same thing. Like, are they just calling him a white supremacist just because the president did? And we'll get into that a little bit later about after this trial. Or are they trying to stir something up as far as race goes? Who knows? But let's start at the beginning. So obviously he was there, and this is pretty cut and dry. There's no way to say he wasn't. But this is something that's been fought about in court, I think today, actually, in some of the closing arguments, that the prosecutor was saying that Kyle showed up with a gun to do harm or get himself into a dangerous situation in order to use the gun. But what the defense is saying, and what I believe to be true, because if you watch the videos, it shows to be true, that he had actually showed up to render medical aid, and at one point he tried to put a fire out. And the videos show it. There's documentation of him asking people, "Do you need medical?" Not raising his gun up. He had his gun, but he wasn't doing anything with it. He was just, it was his security net. It was his defense in case something like this did happen. It was at that point when he got chased. I'm not going to use their names. I'm going to go person 1, 2, and 3 because I'm going to butcher their names. And I think they're all dirt bags anyway, so I'm not even going to give them the limelight or the spotlight of saying their name. So person 1 decided to chase Kyle. Kyle was running. The guy caught up to him. He before he caught up to him, he threw a bag at him. I don't know what was in the bag. I believe the defense noted that it was something heavy. They weren't allowed to open the bag, I believe. But he threw a bag at Kyle and then caught up to Kyle. Kyle turned around and the guy went for the gun and Kyle shot him 4 times. Now, the prosecutor is saying that he shot him in the back, which the defense came back and said that if you look at the wounds and the entry points, and I don't know if there was an exit point, but he noted the entry points were diagonal. So it wasn't like someone was running away and got shot in the back. It was like someone was falling in front of him and he was shooting them as he went down to put the threat down. And I believe he said he also had a gunshot wound to the hand. And there was also soot on his hand, which says he was grabbing the gun at the time the gun was fired. So if someone's trying to take your gun, they're not trying to just get it and run away with it. They're trying to get your gun to give to shoot you, the point blank, to shoot you with the gun. No one's going to come up if you're concealed carrying. No one's going to come up and just grab your pistol out of your holster if they can see it. Which they shouldn't, but if they can see it, if no one's gonna come up and grab the pistol and pull it out of your holster just to play around. More than likely, if they're grabbing at your gun, just like a cop, if a cop gets into a situation and someone grabs at their gun, it's deadly force. If someone's trying to grab your gun, they have the intent to give you bodily harm or kill you. So in this case, person 1 was trying to grab at his gun, in which case he fired 4 times and killed him. I'm pretty sure instantly. Now, person 1, this is talked about a lot, so I'll note this, was the pedophile. He had been charged for raping young boys. I'm not going to get too graphic, But that's who was at this protest. It's person 2. So let's go ahead and go through the series of events here. Kyle continued to run away to try to get to the cops. If you watch the video, he was running directly towards the cop cars. You can see all the blue and red lights in the background where they basically have a line set up. And Kyle was running towards them, trying to get to them. He is then hit in the back of the head with I believe it was a skateboard, was the first guy. And then he fell, in which case he then got kicked in the head. And then the same guy who hit him with the skateboard the first time ran and got the skateboard because it flew away, came back and hit him in the head again. This time actually connecting the two. I believe the first one just hit his hat, and then the second one actually connected. Now, all this time, Kyle never raised the gun at the guy with the skateboard. I believe he did raise the gun at the guy who kicked him in the head, and I believe he fired one shot but missed. Now, let's talk about that. Kicked in the head. Someone's trying to kick you in the head while you were on the ground with a gun. Okay. So you have a gun. Someone's trying to kick you in the head. What are they doing? They're trying to incapacitate you somehow. You don't go for the head unless you're trying to do severe bodily harm or death. And getting kicked in the head will do it. It only takes one blow. In the right spot, you're done. So Kyle, I believe, I might be wrong on this, but this is what I'm getting from the trial and watching everything. He fires one shot after the guy kicks him in the head. He misses. The guy with the skateboard comes back. So this is person 2. Person 2 being the one who got shot. Comes and hits him in the head with the skateboard. Actually connects. So the skateboard connects with Kyle's head. The guy, person 2, then goes for the gun. And on the video, they slowed it down, the defense did, and you can actually see him pulling the gun, which is when Kyle fires the shot. I'm not sure where he got hit, but I think it was the abdomen. And you see person 2 run off and fall and end up dying in the street. And then person 3, who actually testified, and we'll get into that in a second, came up, pointed a gun at Kyle's head, in which case Kyle turned and shot him in the bicep. Now, person 3 is important to note here that when he went to the hospital, there's a Facebook post that keeps getting talked about in the trial. And I saw this way back when, and I didn't know if it was going to be fake or what it was going to be, but it's actually being used in the trial, so it's real. And there's a Facebook post from a friend of the person 3 who got shot in the bicep, saying that person 3 said that he wishes he would have shot earlier and unloaded a full magazine into Kyle, which that right there shows the intent to kill. That's not even bodily harm at that point. He wanted to kill Kyle at that point. Whether he thought it was him trying to protect everybody else at the riot, it was a riot, not a protest, or if he was just trying to kill him because of what Kyle was there standing for. I don't know. Person 3 gets on the stand per the prosecutor and says that Kyle didn't shoot his gun until person 3 raised his gun and pointed it at Kyle. So right there, that proves the whole self-defense case. That one thing. If you don't even want to note person 2 grabbing the gun and hitting Kyle in the head, and then person 1 going for the gun. All 3 cases are self-defense. Actually, let's say 4 cases, because the guy who kicked Kyle in the head, technically that's self-defense. You talk to any responsible gun owner, anybody with a concealed carry permit, anybody who carries in general, open carries. If you were on the ground like that and someone comes to kick you in the head, ask them what they're going to do. Because at that point, you're not fist fighting anymore. This person's trying to end you. If they knock you out, just like a cop, any cop, you can ask them. If someone knocks you out, gets a hold of your gun, they're most likely going to shoot you and kill you when you're knocked out. So there's a lot of different moving parts with this. A lot of different charges. Now, before I go further, I do want to say that I don't think Kyle should have been there. I don't agree with it. I I know if I would have been in that circumstance, and I wouldn't have been there anyway, but my mom would have kicked my butt. That she would have not supported that one bit, and I hope she listens, so she's gonna find that funny. But he had no need to be there. He was there with good intentions, and this is what the defense has been trying to note and harp on, while the prosecutors are saying he went to put himself in a dangerous situation in order to act with the gun. I believe, and Kyle, this is what Kyle said, and this is what defense is saying, and this is what's true per the videos that everyone else was taking of Kyle. He was asking people if they needed medical. He had a fire extinguisher. He was trying to put fires out. He was there to do good. There was pictures of him wiping off graffiti earlier in the day. So I think, and the video shows, the evidence shows that Kyle was there to do good and just got clogged up in a really crappy situation from these riders. Now, that said, I don't think any of these riders should have been here either. All these protests were BS. Straight up BS. All these people were causing destruction. In the videos, you can hear them breaking the windows of cars, setting stuff on fire, just causing destruction all over. So no one should have been there in the first place. No one. The rider shouldn't have been there. Kyle shouldn't have been there. But when it comes down to it, they felt the need to go out. Kyle, being Kyle, not these riders. Kyle felt the need to go out along with everybody else who was with Kyle, and they're doing the same thing to protect the community against what was going on. And quite frankly, I haven't read too much into it, so don't quote me on this, but the cops weren't really doing anything. They had a line set up, but they were just kind of letting it go. And I think you're going to see this case, like I said, is going to be a template for future self-defense cases. And it's very important because considering everything that's going on in this case, if he is found guilty, that's a huge deal for future rulings. I don't think he's going to get found guilty. I think it's going to be not guilty across the board, at least self-defense across the board. He might pick up some charges for crossing state lines or being there with the gun, even though that one of those was dropped. You never really know. But considering everything, I think it's going to come up that it was self-defense and it's going to be found not guilty for murder. Now let's talk about after the trial. Kyle has had some pretty freaking good attorneys, lawyers, defense. Excuse me. He's had a really good defense. They've done their job wonderfully, and I think what's up next is there's going to be a ton of lawsuits that come out for Kyle. Most importantly, against the president. The president has called him a white supremacist openly, and obviously that is straight up defamation. I don't know if that's played a part in this trial at all, but I mean, when it's the president talking, it probably held some kind of bearing in the minds of the jurors, or even the way the prosecutors might have been talking or in making their points. But you're going to see a lot of lawsuits, and Kyle's mom has already said that when asked that question, if they were going to start suing, that she was going to keep it up to the attorneys. She was going to let them do their thing, basically. So you can only think that means one thing, that they're most likely going to want to sue for defamation and anything else that they see. So it would not surprise me to see stuff like that come out in the next, I don't know, few months after this trial resolves. Now, I don't know if he is found guilty, that 0.1% chance that he's found guilty. If they will still pursue that, probably, because they could probably still win some lawsuits. But if he is proven not guilty, I think you're going to see some lawsuits popping up real quick. So as far as my thoughts on all this go, like I said a million times, I think it's self-defense across the board. He shouldn't have been there, but the rioters shouldn't have been there. The whole situation shouldn't have happened, period. But it did. So it has to be self-defense. There's no way it's not. And this isn't a white supremacist thing. He wasn't an active shooter. Was he actually posing with Proud Boys? I don't know. Do I care? No, that holds no bearing in what's going on. You know, if he's a racist, then he's a racist. But it still holds no bearing to this because he's white. He shot white people. Race has nothing to do with this. He wasn't an active shooter. They proved that when he consistently put his gun down when people were putting their arms up or weren't showing a threat. If there was a huge crowd of people around him, if he was an active shooter, he could have started popping every single person that was coming at him, but he didn't. He continued to try to run away and get away from the threat. So, with that being said, I know everybody has different views on this. For the most part, I've pretty much, other than like on Twitter and the liberal soapboxes that I sometimes go look at just to see their opinions and the wacky stuff they're thinking about. For the most part, everyone's pretty on board with him being not guilty. So I think you're going to start seeing. You had COVID, which divided everybody, and you're going to start seeing a big divide. And this is going to be the gun divide, right? You saw the medical divide, now you're going to see the gun divide, where people who know their rights and want to continue keeping the right of self-defense that we are afforded as a human right, a basic right, a God-given right, and then those people that think this kid's just a white supremacist and he just wanted to shoot everybody. Like, do you see the difference? There's a big difference between the two. So, again, closing thoughts on this. This is going to be a shorter episode because it's just me, so we're not playing off each other and going from topic to topic. So I just really wanted to get on this. It's kind of been irking me that people are even defending a pedophile or any of these guys because they were all dirtbags. Should they have died for it? No, but what they did was pretty stupid, and they deserved everything they got. Sorry to say it. If you run at somebody with a gun and try to cause them harm and get shot for it, you just want a stupid prize for doing something really stupid. And that's about it. So that's going to wrap up today's episode. Hopefully next week we will have everybody on. I think Dylan especially is going to be here, so maybe we can, by next week, if the verdicts come out, we can talk about it, and hopefully it's not guilty. We can talk about some of the implications that this is going to have for the future. And we're going to get back on our soapbox, and we're going to start talking about the vaccine some more and the fact that there was a permanent hold on the vaccine mandate for businesses with 100 employees or less. So we're going to touch on this all very soon. So please stay tuned. And remember, thank all your first responders, your police officers, your firefighters, your nurses, your doctors, everybody, your military. Go thank them. Give them a handshake. They are the ones holding that line, and we thank them every day. Thank you, guys. Have a great night. Bye. I am the American